Did you know that 24 lakh students took the NEET exam this year? This is twice the number of UPSC aspirants. Did you know that the NEET exam is conducted in 13 languages and in 14 foreign cities besides 571 cities in India? Did you know that in 2015 the pre-medical test was cancelled due to a paper leak? Hello and welcome to another edition of Capital Calculus. I am your host Anil Padmanabhan. The exam to select the next generation of Indian doctors has plunged into an unprecedented controversy. As a result, the outcome of NEET, or the National Eligibility-cum-Entrance Test undergraduate, is unclear. Meanwhile, the matter has become a political slugfest between the incumbent National Democratic Alliance and the opposition parties. Separately, the matter is also under the scrutiny of the Supreme Court. What does one make of this sorry spectacle of public policy failure? Is it time to ask some tough questions and, if required, force a fundamental reset in NEET? To answer this and more, I spoke to Ramgopal Rao. He is the Vice-Chancellor of the Birla Institute of Technology and Science. Mr. Rao is a former director of IIT Delhi and hence knows more than a thing or two about competitive exams. Given the backdrop of the NEET controversy, I began by asking Mr. Rao whether this was a disaster waiting to happen.
No, in fact, the NTA, the whole structure is something, that I have my own concerns. As a department within the ministry, under the direct administrative control of minister and secretary is avoidable because, NTA conducts such high stakes exam. We look at UPSC. UPSC also conducts, major exams in the country, but it has a constitutional status and it has its own dedicated staff. There is a process to the whole thing, and there are UPSC members, and even the way they conduct interviews is all very systematic. And I think NTA is equivalent to UPA. Sorry, NTA is equivalent to UPSC when it comes to the importance in terms of organizing these high stakes kind of an examination. I think structurally it needs to be done differently. It has to get a constitutional status. It has to be managed by the senior educators in the country. For example, the IIT exam, if you see the involvement of IIT faculty at every stage of the exam, right, is the reason why the IIT JEE advanced exam has gained the stature that it has today. And that is essentially because of the ownership that IITs have in that exam, the faculty involvement at every stage, because the people are in a way they own that exam, and their entire reputation is at stake, and therefore they do put in a lot of efforts in making sure that the examination actually happens the way it should be. And I think that kind of a oversight, that sort of ownership, that kind of an administrative mechanism that happens in the case of GE Advanced, the meticulous planning that goes into, is difficult to expect, from a department within a ministry managed by secretaries or additional secretaries who keep changing every 2 years. And I think there is a fundamental problem there, in my opinion.
So, sir, what will be needed to give it constitutional status? I presume we'll need a new law. But what are the other changes in the structure and makeup of NTA that would be required?
I think the UPSC is a good model for that. If at all we want to give NTA the constitutional status, the UPSC kind of a model will be good, where there will be members and there will be a chairman, and it's an independent body, right? And that sort of a model already exists in the country, and UPSC I think he's doing a great job. I mean, I haven't heard in the recent past any paper leaks or anything out of UPSC, and they conduct such important exams in the country now. So I think there is already a model available. Probably that's what we can move to.
So the idea of NEET started in 2012. So why is it that this point that you're making, constitutional status, was not considered, or was it considered and set aside?
I have no idea, but the number of students taking the exam is going up, pretty steeply now, because it has become one single exam for all the states, all the medical institutions in the country. It has acquired, a very different stature now. 23 lakh students taking that exam. That's a very large number, and in almost like over 540 cities or something, and in each city they will have multiple centers. And I think considering the complexity involved, the number of students taking the exam, which is going up year after year, and also the high stakes involved now, because if all admissions are going to be done through one single exam, then it needs to be conducted even more meticulously than what it was earlier, when every state had its own entrance exams and all of that. I think considering all these changes and developments, probably time has come now to look at that differently. And but I'm not sure why it was not thought from the beginning. And I was never comfortable with the NTA structure, because even for me, coming from the IIT system, the JE mains is always conducted by the NTA, while JE advanced is done by the IITs, and we take 2.5 lakh candidates from JE mains who come and take the JE advanced exam. I think we all could see that things can be better on the JE mains part, and I think I always felt that that autonomous status for NTA on the lines of UPSC was needed. So
So now looking back at this entire controversy, has it eroded the credibility of NTA as a agency which conducts the exam? And is it an irretrievable situation?
I think people have a short memory. People, after a few years, everybody will forget about what happened this year. So I think that's how things survive in India, all these bodies. But I think we need to use these sort of issues to also keep correcting the system, keep evolving things. Because every year we have been seeing some complaint. It's not that it has only come about now. Even the JE mains exam, there have always been concerns with the question paper leaks, and people gaming the system, and then all kinds of complaints we used to hear about the JE mains exam too. So I think these are opportunities for us to move to better systems, better models, learn from what others are doing, and see if we can do anything better than them. I think that's how it has to be. I think that evolution needs to be a continuous process, and learning from mistakes. If we can move to a better model, I think it's always good for the country.
So, just kind of almost a semi philosophical question, or I'm not able to get my head around it, is that at one level, India is able to pull off incredible projects of scale. Look at the general election, which was just conducted. 642 million people voted, no issues, everything went off reasonably well. But when it comes to conducting an exam, you also talked about the IIT advanced. All these go according to a flow and a pattern, and there's rarely an issue. So, why is it that NEET is such a source of controversy?
I think even the election commission also has a constitutional status, that independence. Of course, one keeps arguing about it, but at the end of the day, there is a certain process in place. There is a certain way. All of that. These processes have been established over a period of time. We also have seen what elections used to be in this same country, right? The booth capturing to everything. and the technologies have definitely helped us to move to a much cleaner kind of election process right now. So I think that is also a learning from the election commission thing. Just imagine today without the those electronic voting machines, I don't think anybody could have promised the fair kind of elections that we see today. You could not have probably stopped booth capturing and people impersonating, the proxy kind of voting. All that would have happened even today, right? But there, the technology has come to our rescue, and even for conducting these exams, I think there are enough technologies available. I mean, if you look at US, for example, right, the SAT exams and all of them are taken by about 2 million students all over the world, but they use the technology very efficiently, very effectively, and nobody is complaining of any of those examinations kind of a thing. I think we need to make use of the technology. The way the NEET exam is conducted, it's still a pen and paper kind of an exam. I mean, I don't understand why it has to be a pen and paper kind of an exam. Of course, getting so many terminals for 23 lakh students is not possible. Even today, JEE Advanced is still the single largest examination conducted using computers, because there are, the TCS ION, which provides the support for conducting the JEE Advanced exam, can provide about 2 lakh kind of computer terminals. And with some difficulty, they can stretch it to maybe 2.5 lakhs and all of that. So in one single sitting, you can make available that many terminals for conducting this exam. But need one single sitting, if they needed 23 lakh kind of terminals, wouldn't have been possible. So they would have then needed to split it across sessions. But when you split it across sessions, then the normalization will become a bit of a challenge. So I think to overcome that, they have been conducting this pen and paper based kind of an exam. But then we have seen what can happen with such sort of things. And but I think there are better ways to do that. A kind of a question bank based model. You have a large number of questions in that question bank. You keep updating it every year, and you have dedicated centers. The same agency can provide you dedicated centers over a period of 6 months, and then you can have students to go there and take the exam and book some slots, and some of these are definitely possible. We need to try it out, because these are all time tested kind of models. And even BITSAT, the BITS Pilani exam, is also conducted the same way. So we have, you can choose your slot and you go there and then take the exam, and you get the results immediately afterwards, because all the questions are there, all the answers are there. You know your approximate score immediately after the exam. You don't even have to wait for some results to be announced or anything. Only the rank part of it we announce at one go after a couple of months kind of thing, after all students have taken the exam. But how many marks one has got, you just get it immediately after the examination. So I think that also brings in transparency. I go there, I take the exam, I know what marks I've got. And if I haven't got good marks, I can get one more chance after a month or two, when I can go back and take that exam again. I think that sort of flexibility we need to have, when we are conducting such a high stakes kind of an exam. Otherwise, one single day, if I'm ill on that day, many students are also complaining. They also complain even during other examinations. That day in my room, the fan was not working. Now at 47 degrees centigrade, without a fan, I wasn't able to focus on the examination. So now who is responsible for that? And you go to the examination center, this exam is conducted in 13 languages. Now they have got a question paper which is not what they asked for, in a language which they did not ask for, which they haven't asked for. Then then some time is lost. And I think with those kind of problems, you'll always have those problems, come what may. And that is again the reason why moving to a BitSat kind of an exam model, or a SAT kind of an examination model, where you have that exam given over 6 months time with dedicated terminals in all these centers, and you can book your slot, go and take the exam. You get a rough score immediately after the exam, and then a rank after all the students take the exam. I think some of these models we can follow, and I don't personally see what is wrong in that. I mean, today with all these AI, ML, and so many technologies, and you can also do the normalization much better. Even dynamically, the questions that the students face, You can bin them into different complexity categories, and then every student can receive questions randomly from all these different complexities. And I think there are ways to do these exams better.
Does the technology infrastructure exist to enable students to retake their exams?
Yeah, two times is not difficult, but therefore you need to conduct this exam over some period, not in 1 month kind of a thing. Let's say if you have 2 lakh terminals available today in the country, then if you have to now cover 23 lakh students, then you have to do it over 10 sessions or 15 sessions kind of a thing, right? The question bank remains the same. Now you bin the questions into different categories, and everybody takes equal kind of a number of questions from different categories, which is randomly picked and arranged. And then so you do it in multiple sessions, and I think it has to be done over 3 months kind of a time period, and everybody can get two chances in that 3 month period. It's definitely possible. I don't see why it cannot be done.
So how do you normalize this process by keeping questions in categories, or is there some technique? Because if somebody takes it like I take it today, somebody else takes it tomorrow, or somebody else takes it after 3 months. So we are all picking questions on the same question bank. So how do you normalize the results across so many tests?
The question bank is huge. It will have a large number of questions, and these questions are also arranged in the order of their complexity and other things. So therefore, it will look at how the students are performing and dynamically adjust the complexity level. And I think that's how all these agencies have been conducting the exam. All US universities, most of the US universities still look at SAT score, though some have now moved away from SAT score and look at a more holistic kind of a process. But universities still trust the SAT score process, and it can be done. I think with the help of new technologies and with the help of the infrastructure that is available in the country today for online exams, I think one can devise a good algorithm to actually do that. So, in my opinion, it's possible. So.
From whatever we have heard so far, it is clear that the time has come to take some fundamental decisions, those pertaining to the fact whether the existing system is sufficient to withstand the load of 24 lakh students appearing it for in a year. This number is going to grow. It's never going to diminish. Second, is it time to abandon the pen and paper method of testing students? After all, this is a country which has pioneered itself in digital innovation. So seriously, this can't be a very difficult step for it to take, especially in the context of Mr. Rao explained to us. Thirdly, is it time to accord constitutional status to the NTA, just like it is in the case of UPSC and the Election Commission, neither of which ever report a snafu. So, to sum it up then, it is time that the country undertook some serious soul thinking about the NEET exam. After all, it concerns millions of students. Remember, they are also the future of India. Hence, handle with care. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to StratNews Global on YouTube. Hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any updates. And please do share your thoughts, ideas and suggestions with us. I'm available on Twitter at Capital Calculus. I'll be back next week with another episode. Till then, stay safe.